Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Super Sports Central. Today, we're going to be going over my Week 4 NFL predictions. So last week, I had a pretty bad week predicting, going just 7-9, and that brings my record on the season to 27-21. But kicking things off this week on Thursday Night Football, where we have the Cowboys at the Giants. So this is an interesting matchup. Both teams are 1-2. The Cowboys have lost 2 straight, whereas the Giants are coming off their first win over the season, and the only win for both teams is actually against the Browns. But this is an interesting matchup. The Cowboys, they have really struggled to stop the run this season, allowing 185 rushing yards per game, which is worst in the NFL. And the Giants, they've got a pretty good run game, rushing for 105 yards per game and 4.2 yards per carry. Now, those numbers aren't insane, but I think they'll be much better against the Cowboys defense that just can't stop the run. Now, on the other side, the Cowboys offense has been pretty good at scoring 25.7 points per game and passing for a league high 269 yards per game. They now face a Giants defense that isn't very good against the pass, although their numbers in the year aren't terrible. But this is a really tough game for me to predict. I think the Giants will be able to run the football and they'll find offensive success that way, but I think the Cowboys can have a big offensive game throwing the football. But the Cowboys, they've owned the Giants recently, winning 13 of the last 14 games in 6 straight. The Giants also haven't won a Thursday Night Football game since 2015. But I think if the Giants defense can find a way to get some stops, the Giants offense can win behind their run game. But the Giants can't let this game become too high scored. But I'm going to take the Cowboys. But as a Giants fan, I would love to see the Giants get the win. But the Cowboys, they've just owned the Giants lately. And I'm going to take the Cowboys to win a close one, 23-20. Next game, we got the Saints at the Falcons. So both teams are coming off losses and looking for a bounce-back win. The Saints, they've looked good offensively this season, scoring 34.3 points per game, but had a bad offensive performance last week, putting up just 12 points. Then they'll face a Falcons defense, which is pretty solid, allowing roughly 20 points per game. So it will be interesting to see if the Saints can get better offensive play, or if their first couple of games were a fluke. Now, the Falcons offense hasn't been too good, scoring just 16.3 points per game, and they face a tough Saints defense, allowing just 14.7 points per game. But this is another tough game for me to predict. The Falcons are home, but I'm leaning towards the Saints, but I really don't know what to expect from their offense. This is a game where I really have no idea who to pick. I'll stick with the home team, and I'll take the Falcons 20-17, but this is a true coin flip. Moving on, we've got the Rams at the Bears. So the Rams are banged up, but coming off an upset win over the 49ers. And then for the Bears, they've lost back-to-back games, although Caleb Williams did look pretty good last week, throwing for over 300 yards. But Caleb Williams now faces another defense that has trouble stopping the pass, as the Rams are allowing 248 passing yards per game, which is bottom 5 in the NFL. So this is another big opportunity for Caleb Williams to have another good game. But the Rams, they have a bunch of offensive injuries, but they didn't stop them from putting up 27 points against a good 49ers defense last week. But then they'll face another good defense in the Bears, who are top 10 in scoring defense and pass defense. So I think that'll make this a tough game for Matthew Stafford and the Rams, although they made it work last week against an even better defense with the 49ers. But I really have no idea who's going to win here. Another game that could truly go either way. But I'm going to take the Rams. I trust Matthew Stafford to win a close game more than I trust Caleb Williams. And if Stafford and the Rams can score enough against the 49ers to win, they can do it against the Bears. So I'll take the Rams in a close one, 24-19. Moving on, we have the Vikings at the Packers. So both teams have actually gotten off to good starts this season, as they have a combined record of 5-1. But both teams are also dealing with injuries to their starting quarterbacks. For the Vikings, Sam Darnold hurt his knee last week in the win over the Texans, although he should be good to go for this week. And then for the Packers, Jordan Love has missed the previous 2 games with an MCL sprain, but there's a chance he can play, and he will definitely return soon. Now, Malik Willis will be starting again for the Packers if Jordan Love can't go, and Malik Willis has been pretty good in his 2 starts this season. But the Vikings, they've looked great on both sides of the ball. They're a top 3 scoring offense and scoring defense. And the Packers, they've also been good on both sides of the ball, but not quite as good as the Vikings. The Packers are going to really try to run the football, as that is what they've done without Jordan Love, as they have averaging 204 rushing yards per game, which is best in the NFL. But they now face a Vikings defense that is the second best rush defense, allowing just 71.3 rushing yards per game. So if the Packers can't really run the football, which I don't think they'll have a ton of success doing, I don't think their offense will be that good. I don't really trust Malik Willis a ton against a good Vikings defense. He's played well, but the Vikings defense is much better than the Colts defense and the Titans defense. But this is a game that could really go either way. Both teams are really good teams, but I'll take the Vikings to remain undefeated and win this game by a score of 23-16. Moving on, we have the Steelers at the Colts. So the Steelers are starting Justin Fields again, as he's coming off his best game of the season. And I think Justin Fields can have another good game against a Colts defense that is one of the worst defenses in the NFL. As the Colts, they're not good against the pass, and they're the second worst team against the run. And with them being bad against the run, that plays right into what the Steelers want to do offensively, as they rush for 130 yards per game. Now, the Colts' offense is okay, scoring 17 points, but their offensive play really depends on how Anthony Richardson looks that week. And you really never know what you're going to get with him. But the Colts' offense now has to face the Steelers' defense, which is best in the league, allowing just 8.7 points per game so far this season. The Steelers are the better team here, although I could see the Colts with an upset win. But the Steelers, they have the significantly better defense, and I think that's the difference. The Steelers improved to 4-0 with a 22-16 win. Moving on, we've got the Jets hosting the Broncos. So the Broncos picked up their first win of the season last week with an upset win over the Buccaneers. And rookie quarterback Bo Nix looked pretty good. Although he now has to face a Jets defense that got back on track last week and is great against the pass, allowing just 150 passing yards per game, which is fourth best in the NFL. So now, while Bo Nix did look really good last week, I don't expect that to be the case against a tough Jets defense. And now the Broncos defense has also been pretty good to start the season, allowing just 15.3 points per game. And they have also been great against the pass, allowing just 133 passing yards per game, which is second best in the NFL. But they're going to need their defense to play extremely well because they need this to be a low-scoring game if they want to have a chance. But Aaron Rodgers has been improving each game with the Jets, and even though I think this will be a lower-scoring game, the Jets' offense is better, and they'll win this game. And they'll find success against the tough Broncos defense, and the Broncos' offense won't find success against the tough Jets defense. Jets win by a score of 20-6. Moving on, we've got the Buccaneers hosting the Eagles. So this is a really interesting game. The Eagles are 2-1 and coming off a low-scoring win over the Saints, while the Buccaneers are also 2-1, but last week they suffered a bad loss to the Broncos. Now, both teams have gotten off to similar starts, not only record-wise, but offensively and defensively. As the Buccaneers are scoring 21.3 points per game and allowing 20.7 points a game, whereas the Eagles are scoring 23.3 points per game and allowing 21 points a game. So very similar both offensively and defensively. And I think that's going to cause this to be a very tight game. So while the Buccaneers did get destroyed last week, I am going to take them to get the win, as the Eagles' offense is pretty banged up. They're without A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, so that's going to greatly limit their passing game. And while Saquon Barkley can have a great game as a rusher, because he's gotten off to a great start this year, I just don't see him carrying the Eagles' offense to the win. Plus, Jalen Hurts has been a little too turnover-prone to start the year, with 5 turnovers in 3 games. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers to get the win in a close one, 23-21, but this is a game that could really go either way. Next game, we got the Bengals at the Panthers. So the Bengals, they've gotten off to a brutal start so far this year, as they're currently sitting at 0-3. The Panthers have also been terrible, but they won last week with Andy Dalton at quarterback, and Andy Dalton now has to face his former team. To make things even more interesting, Andy Dalton was great last week with over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he now faces a Bengals defense that was atrocious last week. So I could see this being another good game for Andy Dalton. Now, the Bengals offense has been steadily improving, as they're now scoring 22.7 points per game, and they face a Panthers defense that is the worst scoring defense in the NFL, allowing 31.7 points per game. And with the Bengals offense looking better and better with each passing week, plus the Panthers having a terrible defense, I'm going to take the Bengals to get the win. I think their offense will play well, plus this is essentially a must-win game for the Bengals, as there has only been one team in NFL history to start the season 0-4 and still make the playoffs. But the Bengals, they're the much better team. They got to win at some point, so why not against one of the worst teams in the league? Bengals win by a score of 34-21. Moving on, we have the Jaguars at the Texans. So both teams are coming off really bad losses last week, as Jaguars lost to the Bills 47-10, and the Texans lost to the Vikings 34-7. The Jaguars, they've been one of the worst teams in the NFL to start the season, as they're one of 3 winless teams in the league, plus they're bottom 5 in both scoring offense and scoring defense. Now, while the Texans were awful last week, they're a lot better than the Jaguars. CJ Stroud and the Texans offense will have a bounce back game against what has been a bad defense, and I think the Texans will win this game pretty easily by a score of 30-15. Next game, we got the Commanders at the Cardinals. So this is another interesting game. The Commanders are 2-1 after back-to-back wins, and their offense has been great, scoring on 14 straight drives. They also haven't turned the ball over yet this season, and they haven't punted since week 1. A big reason why the Commanders have been so good is rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels has gotten off to a great start in his NFL career. This game is also a revenge game for Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, who was the Cardinals head coach from 2019 to 2022. But I think this is going to be a good game, and I think this is going to be a shootout. Both teams are good offensively, as the Commanders are scoring 26.3 points a game, and the Cardinals scoring 27.3 points a game. And neither team has a great defense, as the Commanders are allowing 29 points a game, and the Cardinals allowing a little over 21 points a game. So I think this is going to be a shootout. This is going to be a very entertaining game, and this could go either way, but I'm going to take the Commanders to get the win. I think their offense has been better. They have been red hot offensively as well. Commanders, they stay hot, and they win 32-27. Next game, we got the Patriots at the 49ers. So the 49ers have lost 2 straight games, and they're really banged up as well. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Javon Hargrave are all either already out for this game or unlikely to play. And the 49ers, they almost won last week despite their injuries, but they didn't, as they lost to the Rams. But they now have a much easier matchup against the Patriots, as the Patriots, they have a bad offense, scoring just 13 points per game, and I don't see them finding much success against a good 49ers defense. The Patriots also have a terrible offensive line, and the 49ers pass rush is going to have a huge game. But while the 49ers are dealing with a bunch of injuries, I don't really think their offense is going to have to do a ton, and I think they'll be able to get the win, and they'll get a bounce back win here after back-to-back losses, and I think the 49ers get the win pretty easily by a score of 24-10. Next game, we got the Browns at the Raiders. So this is a game that's going to be close, but I really don't think it's going to be that good of a game. Both teams aren't that good and are just 1-2 and coming off a loss last week. The Browns offense is bad at scoring just 16.7 points per game, but they also face a bad Raiders defense allowing 27 points a game. On the other side, the Raiders are scoring 19 points a game, and they face a Browns defense that's allowing 22.3 points a game, although I think the Browns are much better than their numbers suggest. But this is a game that could go either way. I don't really think either team will have that much offensive success. I'll take the Browns because of their defense, and they'll win in a pretty boring game, 17-13. Moving on, we've got the Chiefs at the Chargers. So the Chargers might be without Justin Herbert for this game, as he's dealing with a high ankle sprain, although he played through it last week, but he re-aggravated his injury and left the game. But if Herbert can't play for the Chargers, then that means they'll be starting Taylor Heinicke. Now, Herbert isn't the only Charger who could miss this game, as rookie tackle Joe Alt, Joey Bosa, and others were either limited in practice or missed practice. Plus, star safety Derwin James has been suspended for this week's game. Now, if the Chargers are without Justin Herbert, they will lean on the run game more than they already do, as they're rushing for 152 yards per game, and they face a Chiefs defense that is okay against the run, allowing 113 rushing yards per game. The Chiefs offense has been good, scoring 25 points per game so far this year, but they face a Chargers defense that has been great, allowing just 11 points per game. But I still think the Chiefs will have some offensive success despite facing a good Chargers defense. But I'm going to take the Chiefs to get the win. If Justin Herbert plays, he's not going to be 100%, and I don't see the Chargers winning without Justin Herbert. The Chiefs have also won 5 straight games against the Chargers, and 8 of the last 10, so I'll take the Chiefs to remain undefeated and win 24-14. Next game, we got Sunday Night Football, and that is the Bills at the Ravens. So we will have a live watch party for this game that will start at about 8:15 Eastern Time on Sunday, so I hope to see you guys there. But this is going to be a great game. The Bills, they're 3-0, and they look like one of the best teams in the NFL so far. And the Ravens, despite being 1-2, they're still a great team. The Ravens, they've been great offensively, scoring 23.7 points per game, and they have a great run game, and they're good throwing the ball as well. They now face a Bills defense that is allowing just 16 points a game, and also pretty good against the pass and the run. On the other side, the Bills' offense has been the best in the league, scoring 37.3 points per game, and they face a Ravens defense that hasn't been great to start the season, allowing 26 points a game, and actually has the worst pass defense in the NFL, allowing 291 passing yards per game. But this is a game that could really go either way. With the Ravens' struggles against the pass, I'm expecting a big game from Josh Allen and the Bills' offense, but I'm also expecting the Ravens to play pretty well, despite facing a good defense, because Lamar Jackson has gotten off to a great start this year, and I don't really think he will slow down this week. But this is a game that could truly go either way. This is going to be a high-scoring, back-and-forth game. I really have no idea who will win. This feels like a game the Ravens really need, but the Bills, they've looked like one of the best teams in the NFL, and I'm going to take them to stay undefeated and win in a thriller 30-27. Moving on to the games we have on Monday, beginning with the Titans at the Dolphins. So neither team has been that good this year. The Titans are 0-3, and the Dolphins are 1-2. We have no idea who the Dolphins' starting quarterback is, as Tua's on IR, Skylar Thompson got hurt last week, and third-string quarterback Tim Boyle is terrible. Plus, they signed Tyler Huntley last week. So there's a chance Tyler Huntley starts, but even if he starts, he's probably their best option at quarterback, but we don't know what to expect from the Dolphins' offense, and their offense has been horrible so far this year, scoring just 11 points per game, which is worst in the NFL. Now, the Titans' offense isn't much better, scoring just 16 points per game, and neither team's defense is great, both allowing more than 24 points per game. While the Titans haven't been that good this year, I am going to take them to get the win, just because I don't think the Dolphins will be able to do much offensively, and I'll take the Titans to win a boring, low-scoring game, 16-10. And moving on to the second Monday night game, that is the Seahawks at the Lions. So we will have a live watch party for this game that will start at about 8:10 Eastern Time on Monday, so again, I hope to see you guys there. But this is another interesting game. The Lions, they have not been that good this season. Offensively, they're scoring 20.7 points per game, which is solid, but not as good as they have been in the past couple years. The Lions, they now have to face a great Seahawks defense that's allowing just 14.3 points per game, and has the best pass defense in the NFL, allowing just 132 passing yards per game. Now, the Seahawks offense has also been good to start the year, scoring 24.3 points per game, and they've done a lot of their damage through the air, as Geno Smith has gotten off to a great start this year, and the Seahawks are averaging 246 passing yards per game, which is third best in the NFL. Now, the Lions' defense has been okay, allowing 17 points a game, but their pass defense isn't that good. But this is a game that is going to be a good game. This could truly go either way. I think both teams will find a good amount of offensive success, despite both teams being pretty good defensively, but I don't think this game will be a shootout. But I think this will be a very tightly contested game, and Seahawks, they've been the better team so far. They could definitely win this game because of their defense, but I'm going to take the Lions. They're home, and I think they'll start to look a lot better in this game, and it's going to start with a big win over the Seahawks, 24-23. But those are my Week 4 NFL predictions. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, turn notifications so you don't miss any of their upcoming videos. I do my best to post as often as possible. Be sure to check out the community tab of my channel, where you guys can vote on who you think will win some of this week's big games. But thank you for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, turn notifications. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.